Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And now that we've managed to get Christmas out of the way, we've got those few days in between Christmas and New Year in which some kind of normality will return. And of course, to that end, we're going to start by doing a normal kind of story. One of failure of the Greens. Would you expect anything else from the Greens, I wonder? Well, there is a home scheme that is designed to put in insulation, to upgrade the insulation to make homes much warmer, better suited perhaps for the colder climate in lieu of getting a heat pump, which you're going to have a hell of a lot of insulation for them to work. And so this scheme was launched about 8 years ago. A very big announcement. It was a big green push scheme. And at the moment, Harvey is in charge of it. And it's going brilliantly well. And they expect that within about 100 years or so, all the houses of Scotland will be brought up to spec. Only 100 years. Wow. It's almost like Quicksilver, isn't it? You can almost hear the air whizzing past your hair as those deadlines approach. My arse. It's like everything else with the Greens. It's massively expensive. It's very slow. It's very inefficient. And it's just not going to work, is it? Let's take a look. So, wee Patrick Harvey's home insulation scheme could take 100 years to complete. Because it's like everything else they do. It's a bit rubbish. They haven't got the funding. They haven't got the people to do it. They haven't got the ability to push through more than a few at a time because it's such a badly thought out scheme. They don't even have a list, did you know, of all the houses that are eligible. It's ridiculous, isn't it? But then that's what happens when you allow little tiny hate-filled morons control over schemes like this. But then look at him. Does he look like someone who knows what he's doing? You know, he looks like German High Command in 1939, but hey, that's about it. Anyway, the SNP Greens scheme Slow Start has been dubbed a complete failure by the Scottish Lib Dems, and indeed everyone else who's looking at it. Patrick Harvey's home heating scheme could take 100 years to complete a home insulation scheme across the entire country, this is. This is what the Lib Dems have claimed. Scottish Government Minister and Greens co-leader Mr Harvey revealed that the Warmer Home Scotland has helped just 36,275 households since it was launched 8 years ago. That's 4,000 houses a year. This is meant to be a nationwide scheme designed to change every house in Scotland, and it's doing 4,000 a year. That is just absolutely ridiculously low. He was responding to a parliamentary question from the Scottish Lib Dems Communities spokesperson, Willie Rennie. On average, 4,482 households were helped in each full year of the scheme. Now, there are millions of houses, you know, and so it's going to take a long time, isn't it? That means if progress continues at the same rate, it will take around 97 years for the scheme to help the 433, or half a million houses, who are estimated to be eligible for support during phase 2. There's more than a million houses, but we're talking about the eligible ones here, right? Okay, so you've got all these half a million houses, you're doing 4,000 a year. It's 100 years, isn't it? I mean, it's just stupid. But then, so's he. They haven't got the funding. They haven't planned it. Nobody worked out numbers. Nobody worked out all the things that were involved. Now, oh God, we getting going about 10 years ago. I had a guy from the local council turn up, and they said they're doing cavity wall insulation. I said, oh, and how much is that going to cost? And he said, no, it's free. And they literally booked you in. And the following day, they were just going down the road. And the next day, the guys came up and they had the van and the pipes. And they just literally drilled a hole in your wall and filled the whole cavity up. All perfectly free. And they did. I must have seen maybe 100 houses over the course of 2 days. This because there was about 100 houses on the road. I think it was 98 houses on our road, and they did like all of them in like 2 days. Just it's just cavity filling, but it goes to show that if you get it right and you get your timing right, these things can work very, very efficiently. Certainly a lot quicker than what Harvey's doing, isn't it? Anyway, Mr. Rennie has since questioned why the Scottish Government scheme is so limited in ambition. Well, money and Harvey, the two things that should never be put together. The Scottish Government's own estimates suggest that as of October 2022, so over a year ago now, 860,000 households in Scotland were in fuel poverty. The Lib Dem MSP said improving home insulation can be a win-win. It's cutting emissions and bringing down bills. But getting your property up to scratch can be a complicated and expensive affair. Indeed, it can. Like cavity walls, obviously brilliant. But once you've done that, you want to have a look at your lofting area if you've got one. And get that nice thick insulation in and then board it as well. Boarding a loft is a massive thing. And also, one of the big heat losses is where you have the entrance to the loft. Get that sealed and make sure that's all rubber sealed as well. Again, I had the man come and he did all this for us. It was like, oh yes, well, difference was immense. Anyway, at the moment, he says the Scottish Government support scheme is a complete failure. Gosh, say it isn't so. Imagine that. Imagine something coming from the Scottish Government, an SNP-run government scheme that's a failure. Gosh, almost unheard of, isn't it? He says there is little point in having a programme that will take almost 100 years to get the job done. There are people yet to be born who will not benefit from this scheme if they live to be 99 years of age, basically. He said many of those who could benefit now will never see it. And what's worse is that half the households in fuel poverty aren't even eligible. Ministers seem content to plod along, but climate change will not wait, he says. We need more engineers, more tradespeople and more ambition if we're to achieve our climate goals. I don't care about the climate, but I do care about people's bills. It's better off that they have their money to pump into their local economies and spend themselves, put food on the table rather than just handing it over to big energy companies, you know. A Scottish Government spokesperson said support for people in fuel poverty under the Warmer Home Scotland scheme has significantly increased, with also almost 5,500 households supported last year. Well, there we are then. That's okay then. It's up to nearly 6,000 a year. It might only take 80 years. Our relaunch scheme offers more support per household, allowing us to deliver whole house retrofit and install more measures in individual properties. There'll also be a focus on climate-friendly heating where this is financially and technically possible. It's not. Certainly not financially, £35,000, £40,000 a pop. Warmer Home Scotland forms part of a wider offer of support for people in fuel poverty. Well, yes, but actually just getting out there and doing it would help. You know, and also you're an energy-rich country. Why are your energy bills so high? Oh, that's right. Artificially increased, aren't they? It's not real prices, it's artificial. And if you actually truly wanted to help people, you'd reduce your costs. It's not hard. Anyway, there we go. Another failure. Another failure in the making. It's going to fail. It's going to fail hard. But then when you've got a man like that in charge, well, not really a surprise, is it? He doesn't know what he's doing. Anyway, I shall round off there and come up because, you know, it'll just annoy me otherwise. And I don't want to get annoyed. First video back on the proper session. So let's get this one round off. Anyway, coming up. Now, of course, it is easy to mock, which is, of course, why we do it. But I think whoever was running this scheme was going to fail because they just simply don't have the cash. They'd like to help people, I'm sure. I'm not entirely sure they'd like to help people, but you've got to say that, haven't you? I'd like to help people, but for them it's more important that this money is spent on foreign embassies. And what is it, £83,000 for the US pretending ambassador's job, rather than actually, you know, going in and doing something about people's bills. Honest to God, they really have got their priorities up their arse, haven't they? Anyway, so round off there. Thank you very much for watching the first video of the day. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, Stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.